Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the relationship between not taking things for granted and happiness. And I think that, a lot of people might think like, oh, you're being pessimistic. If you don't take things for granted, if you think like things are not going to happen or whatever, then you're going to live your life thinking, oh, this is not going to happen for me. This is not going to happen. This is impossible. This is whatever. I'm not saying you should think in a pessimistic way. Although the good thing about thinking in a pessimistic way is the fact that because you're not taking things for granted, if they don't happen, you already expected that, so you're not going to be disappointed. You know what I mean? I think Mark Hamill, maybe he still has it in his profile, but on Twitter and on Instagram, I think he was like, be pessimistic, whatever. Like, don't think things for granted, whatever. You're never gonna be disappointed, or something like that. I don't know, like be positive or whatever, like dream big or whatever, or be pessimistic, like you're never gonna be disappointed. But the thing is, like, it is true, you're never gonna be disappointed. I'm not saying you should think that things are not gonna happen for you, but you should adopt this mindset of, okay, this thing, maybe I deserve it because I'm cool, or because I'm good, or because I worked really hard, but it might not happen for you. Let's say you are, I don't know, you want to win a competition or whatever. It's a sport or whatever it is. Or the Olympics, or I don't know, a math Olympics, or let's say a chess tournament or a chess Olympics. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. Or I don't know, a debate Olympics or whatever, debate competition, whatever. Or a speech competition. I don't know. You imagine whatever you want. The thing is, if you take for granted that you're going to win, no matter how well you did it, why should you win? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of times, there's this very well known case. There was these two Russian skaters, like these skaters that like skate on ice and stuff like that, and they dance, whatever. So one of them, her name is Alexandra Trusova. No. She Ivanovna, because she's already married. And the other one, her name is Anna something Ova something. I don't know. I can't remember her name. I don't know. It's really long. But anyway, so it's Anna and Alexandra, right? Or Sasha. So Sasha is allegedly a better skater. Like she's done more like records of like pirouettes or stuff that she's done, like turns and stuff. And there was a competition where Anna won. And Sasha was really frustrated, whatever. They're still friends, obviously, but the thing is, like, sometimes things are unfair because no matter how many records you can beat or how many records you can break or whatever, or how many things you can do or whatever, even if you did something better than somebody else, or if everybody thinks that you did something better than everybody else, or even if you worked harder than everybody else, doesn't mean you're gonna necessarily win something or be the best or be, let's say, admired for it or be recognized for it. You know what I mean? Just because you believed in it yourself doesn't mean you're gonna get it. You know what I mean? For instance, I had a crush on this guy. Well, I still have a crush on him. So there's this guy who's very entitled, probably a little bit narcissistic, but anyway, he participated in this contest, and he's really good at public speaking. He's really good at presenting. Like, he's really, really good at it. Anyway, much better than I am. And I noticed that in class he was presenting not as well as usually. You know what I mean? And we talked a little bit after class, and I was like, "Hey, how was the presentation for this other class?" Because we had a presentation. My group and his group had a presentation at a different hour, and I was like, "How was the presentation?" And he was like, "Yeah, it went well. Like, it was okay, but I didn't do it as well as other times because I didn't study that hard because I was a little bit disappointed and stuff because I participated in this contest that I knew he participated in because I saw him, and he posted it on the internet, and he participated in this contest where they had to present products. You know what I mean? These things where there's a bunch of investors that go to presentations or like conventions or whatever, where there's a bunch of people who are presenting their company or their products or whatever, and there's a bunch of investors that will decide whether they want to invest in you or not. You know what I mean? Like, it's this thing. So it was like practice. You know what I mean? It was a contest where you present your company and your product or your service, whatever. You know what I mean? And the judges judge on a lot of things. And he presented the exact same product that he presented in class. I'm no investor. I'm no expert in business, but the thing that I noticed about his company was that it was probably not that viable. You know what I mean? They were really good at presenting it. The idea was great, but how are you going to offer this product at a very low cost? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Like, it was very hard that these people were going to offer this product or this service at a very low cost. Like, it was very unlikely, especially if you're just starting out. So the only thing that I saw about it that was probably not that good was viability. And that's very important. Like, costs and demand, like how many people want your product and how much does it cost? You know what I mean? Is it going to compensate? So that was the only thing that I saw, and I'm not even an expert. And they didn't win the contest, as you know, it wasn't a surprise to me because I was like, okay, they're maybe really good at presenting, but it was not viable. You know what I mean? And he told me that he asked the judges why they hadn't won. He asked the motherfucking judges why they didn't win. He was so entitled. He was so certain that he was going to win that he confronted the judges and asked them why they didn't win. Listen, just because you and your teammate are conventionally hot, and just because you're really good at presenting, public speaking, all that stuff, doesn't mean you're gonna win. For instance, when Steve Jobs, he presented the iPhone, it was a very iconic moment. Everybody knows what he was wearing, everybody knows what he said, blah, blah, blah. He was really good at talking in public. Like, he was really good at presenting, you know? His speeches were iconic, right? But that doesn't mean that people were gonna buy his product because he was really good at talking. You know what I mean? His product had to be good. I mean, it was the iPhone. It was the iPhone. It was the first of its kind, and it's still known or famous for being like the best quality of smartphones, right? So, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just you being able to talk and you being conventionally attractive and you being quote unquote iconic. You have to be good at what you're doing, and you can't take it for granted. Even if your product was the best, maybe other people liked other products. Maybe I'm not going to buy your product, I'm going to buy this other product. Because me, I think it's more viable. And I think that people would actually buy it. You know what I mean? And for instance, the Spanish royal family, right? So it's the king, the queen, and the two daughters, right? The older daughter is the one that's the heir to the throne, obviously. And the younger daughter is second to the throne. She's most probably not going to inherit that title. So, if you ever watch those events, right, you can see that the most smiling person out of the four is the youngest daughter. Why? In my personal opinion, it's because she is second to the throne. She knows that she's not going to be princess, queen, whatever, most probably. So she's not taking that stuff for granted. She's not taking the lifestyle that she has right now for granted. She knows that at some point she's not going to go to these events where you're standing there and there's a bunch of people and you have to shake hands with everybody and then pose for a picture at the end. She knows she's not going to be going to all of those events all the freaking time, every freaking year of her life. She knows she's not going to be doing that forever. So she's enjoying the moment, and that's why she's so happy. I mean, I'm not saying that the rest are not happy about the events, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe they're happy and they're not showing it. Some people are more serious, and I include myself. But the thing is, I think she seems happier. I think she seems happier in those events because she's not taking it for granted. So she's enjoying the moment, right? I'm not taking for granted that I'm going to get big in this or that or whatever. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be working as hard as I'm working right now. You know what I mean? I remember because the thing is, like, you have to work hard, but you can't take it for granted. You know what I mean? Even if you're the hardest working, even if you're the, you know what I mean, the smartest or whatever, you can't take stuff for granted. I remember when I graduated from high school, you know, they would give honors to 5% of the people in the generation, and I ended up graduating with honors. But I'm just telling you for the sake of the example. I'm not bragging. So there was a lot of people in my class and a lot of people from my group of friends who wanted to graduate with honors. They wanted that. They were like, oh my God, I've been studying so hard to get this thing. And two of the people that were dreaming about it, like for 2 years, they had been dreaming about it. They had been talking about it for 2 fucking years. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. I did not give a fuck, and I'm not saying this because I don't give a fuck. I did not even think about it. I was like, I'm going to study for me, and I'm going to study hard because I'm a good student, whatever. I don't care if I graduate with honors or not. Because is that going to give me more years of lifetime? Are they going to give me money? What is that going to do for me? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I was dreaming about other things in life. I ended up getting it, which was really exciting for me. But the thing is, I never took it for granted. I was really happy when I won. And my parents were too. But the thing is, I never took it for granted, and I got it, and I was like, okay, I'm grateful. But these people that took for granted that they were going to get it, they were so frustrated in the end. They were like, why didn't I win? I don't know why they were so certain. It's like, okay, maybe you got good grades, but look at everybody else. You have to look at what everybody else is doing. Okay, you're probably doing well, but relatively, how is everybody else doing? Are other people getting good grades or not? You know what I mean? You have to look at other people. Even in fucking business. Just because your company's doing well doesn't mean that other companies are not doing better, or they're going to release a product that is going to take all of your market or your potential market, and then no one's going to buy your product anymore, and you're going to be like bankrupt. You know what I mean? You can't take anything for granted, no matter how hardworking you are. Like, you should work hard, and you should try to work harder than everybody else, but you should compete with yourself, and you should look at yourself and be like, okay, how can I do this better? How can I do this better? How can I get it? If you really want something, fight for it, but do not take it for granted. When I was in college, I never failed a subject, but I worked really hard. You know what I mean? I never took for granted that I was going to pass subjects, even if they were really easy. I would study my ass off because I didn't want to fail. That's why I did it. I didn't want the degree to take longer than 4 years, and that's why I studied so hard, because I wanted to finish in 4 years, and I never took anything for granted. That's why I passed subjects. There were so many people who were taking things for granted, like, no, I'm going to pass this subject. No, I'm just going to study a little bit, and I'm going to pass. Let's see what happens. And then they wouldn't win. They wouldn't pass. Oh my God, I'm thinking about competitions. But the thing is, when you take things for granted, you sort of relax. And this has happened to me. There were so many times, for instance, like in middle school or whatever, where I would like a subject and I would just relax, because it's like, oh my God, I love this subject. Like, I remember things like more easily, whatever. And then I would get lower grades than for subjects which I didn't like so much, and I studied harder for because I didn't like them, and I didn't take it for granted, because I was like, well, it's really hard for me to study this, so I'm probably going to get a lower grade if I don't study really hard. And I like accounting. I've gotten lower grades in accounting than in subjects that I really hated. Like, for instance, I don't know, or subjects that were really hard, like, for instance, like economics, or I don't know, things like that, you know? Like, do not take things for granted, and be grateful for everything that's happening to you, because who knows if, you know, if you're gonna win the next competition. Who knows if you're gonna even be alive at that point. You know what I mean? Be grateful for what you have right now, and don't take things for granted. Like, let's say right now you're really lucky in life and you have this job position, or you're in this really cool moment in your life. It's probably not going to last forever. Maybe in a month something bad is going to happen and you're going to be like, oh no. Do you know what I mean? Do not take what you have for granted. That's the key to happiness. Because when you don't assume you're always going to have it, you're grateful and you feel good about it. You know what I mean? And then when you get something, you're like, oh my God, I got it. I'm so happy. Because if you take it for granted, when you win, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I mean, I knew it. This guy I have a crush on, if he had won that fucking contest, he would have been like, I mean, I knew it. I'm so hot. I'm so good at public speaking. Like, of course, I had to win. You know what I mean? And he was disappointed as fuck because he didn't win. You know what I mean? If he had not taken it for granted, he would have been like, okay, you don't lose, you learn, whatever. Maybe next time. It's fine. It was fun. And if he had won, he would have been much happier. But no, he decided to take it for granted. You deserve things, okay? But do not be too entitled. You know what I mean? You deserve things, but so does everybody else. Especially if somebody's working harder than you. And sometimes you might work harder than somebody else, and somebody else might get that thing. Maybe because it was easier for them to do that thing, or because of plugs, or because of whatever. You know? Don't take things for granted, no matter how hard you work. Because you're going to be really unhappy. And you're going to end up hating yourself and other people. So yeah, that was my rant of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.